God of Men, Fake Pastors, a song that some say confirms Charley Boy's idiosyncratic talent. And the man himself is with me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for coming in, sweating a little, jogged in, did we?
I had to jog myself in here. Yeah.
Well, we're delighted to have you. Just before we talk about the underlying message of that song, you've got some notable collaborations on it. Other music stars, I think that single, you have the popular Nigerian singer Falz on it. Is that an attempt? Sorry? Is that an
Falz,
attempt
the
to,
bad guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that an attempt to connect with a younger audience that actually buys the music? So a sort of a more commercial view, a fresher face?
Yeah, that too. Plus the fact that I needed to do this with somebody else. And I looked around, who's capable of hopping on this with me. And the name that came to mind was Falz. And surprisingly, he was visiting Abuja when I used to live in Abuja, that is. You know, he was visiting and I said, please, I would like to see you. He came to the house. I played 3 songs for him. But he preferred this one. He said, okay, let's jump on this. And I said, okay, how soon can we do it? And he said, tomorrow. And I was like, I was blown. And he came exactly at the time he said he was going to come. And we did it.
And did you, I mean, you recorded the song and then you,
no,
you
I had
did
already
the video.
worked on the song.
Okay, right.
I already worked on the song. I had a demo of it, and that was part of the 3 songs I played for him to see what catches his interest. You know, and he liked God of Men.
So where did you record the video?
The video was done like about 3 weeks or a month ago.
No, I mean, like where? Was it
Where?
in Abuja?
No, in Lagos.
Okay, right.
In Lagos.
And would you describe your music, including that one, but beyond that, your music broadly as protest music, or a sort of intersection between protest and pop,
Okay,
pop
I
music?
like to see my music like a bridge. I'm a bridge builder.
Right.
Between old school and new school. But it's Afro. It's Afrocentric, yeah? And I think it's better that way because it allows me, brings up all that militancy, all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it is a form of protest music.
Precise.
Right. And would you say that you are at the peak of your stardom at the moment? I mean, everywhere we go, people...
I don't know what my peak is, Charles.
I mean, are you yet to reach the summits, is what I mean? Because, I mean...
The summit is so far away from me. I've been aiming for this summit for the past 40 years. I don't know where I am in terms of the ladder.
On the spectrum, so...
I really don't know. But my job is to get it done. Say the things that frustrate me, the things that I'm not happy about. And I think I speak for a lot of people in that regard, you know. So that's my job, and to have fun while I'm doing it.
Do you consider yourself a rebel?
Oh, that's... Nobody
Curious
asked me
word,
like that.
is it?
Yeah, a rebel.
Well, you certainly rebelled against your family, your father. And
yes,
all of
I
that,
did.
and you rebelled against, to some extent,
because
the status
I wanted
quo
to do
in
things
Nigeria.
my way.
Right.
Okay. You know, when people say, "Oh, you're controversial," I really don't know what that is. If doing things the right way, my way, I'm not a group soul, so I can't be a follow
So
or
you're a
join
sort of
the
a conscientious objector. In other words, you're a dissenter. You don't kind of follow
You
the...
could say that.
Right.
You could say that. A rebel will be, that's
Well, a rebel is simply somebody who just rejects the status quo, the order. You see what I mean?
Rejection of the status quo. Yes, that's me.
So do you think your rebelliousness is what draws a lot of attention to you, more so perhaps than your music?
Yeah, I think before people, even when I started as a musician, before people knew me as a musician, they're already familiar with my lifestyle, you know, which they call weird, and you know, some say it's unserious and all of that. But I was just having fun, Charles.
Yes, well, I mean, we're glad that you did have that fun, because it's created the personality known as Charley Boy.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are very cool with who Charley Boy is.
Yeah, the youths who make up most of my constituency, the people I'm always talking to, they like it, so the rest can go jump off a bridge.
Well, hopefully they won't, because then there'll be a lot of them leaping off a bridge.
I know.
I want to talk about your song, that lovely piece of music that we just heard, God of Men, Fake Pastors. I'm just a little bit concerned that we may run out of time. If we do, I'll have to interrupt you and then we'll come back and talk some more about it. But I was going to say that it sounds like a sort of satire of televangelism and pastors, but then satire is usually covert, and your song is overtly critical, isn't it?
Yes, but you know the irony in all of this, Charles? My best friend is a pastor, okay?
Yeah, but he may not necessarily be a bad pastor.
Say?
I said he or she may not necessarily be a bad pastor.
No, he's a good pastor.
Right.
He's a
And you're talking
damn
about the
good
bad
pastor.
pastors. That's the
So
one
I'm
you're
only talking
in the
about
song.
the fake pastors.
Right, right.
There's a lot of fakeness going on in the country with religious leaders and all of that. Fake governors, fake leaders, you know.
Well, let me just ask you to hold it there. We'll come straight back and talk some more about it. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the entertainer and activist popularly known as Charley Boy. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Anyegolo. My guest today is the veteran entertainer and activist Charles Chukwuemeka Oputa, popularly known as Charley Boy. He is the son of one of Nigeria's most eminent Supreme Court justices, Chukwuemeka Oputa. But early in his life, Charley Boy decided to carve his own niche, independent of his father's towering image, and he's consistently made a success of it as a public personality, television producer and musician. His latest song, known as God of Men, Fake Pastors, takes aim at pastors and preachers who, he says, tell their congregations that they would only receive miracles and financial breakthroughs if they give their monies to God, when in fact these so-called men and women of God are enriching themselves with these monies meant for God. Before that, his most recent hit, a scathing critique of Nigeria, is called Poto Poto, which is pidgin for muddy, dirty water, or what you might call a right royal mess. We'll continue our chat with Charley Boy in a moment. But first, let's take a brief listen to that song known as Poto Poto, which has just been re-released with a brand new video.
We no know waiting kill him, Papa. That same thing go kill him, oh. Hey. You are welcome to the next level. When I look up, now commotion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now to reach the top, now connection. If you no get person, now stagnation. When I look my side, now okay. One day, our Niger go good. Now so then they talk. One day, our mumu go do. Now so we talk. This country take our hand. Rise up and take it command. We they see them, we know they blind. Oh, we must fight for our right. Oh, anyhow, man must die. Oh, yeah, this next level. Now hot water. Buckle up. They just they do what yeah. See them with their big belly. Then go they use religion to cause plenty confusion. Sometimes the tribalism, poverty and nepotism. When hunger fire person, you go weak, you no go fit talk again. Today, I say, please go blow. Fire on yash go open it. Masquerade the face go show. Hey, today, I say, para walk on no. Say the owner there for house. Bad leaders then go. When I look up, now go motion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now to reach the top, now connection. If you no get person, now stagnation. When I look my side, now okay. One day, our Niger go good. Now so then they talk. One day, our mumu go do. Now so we talk. This country take our hand. Rise up and take it command. We they see them, we know they blind oh. We must fight for our right oh. Anyhow, man must die oh yeah.
And that's a song called Potter Potter, and Charley Boy is still with me in the studio. How did you come up with a name like that? I mean, I was talking to somebody who is much older than you.
Younger?
Much older than you.
Oh, okay.
Who seems to remember that term used when they were a little sort of child. So I
That's
mean,
from the 50s.
Absolutely, you must have sort of dug that out of the archives. But I mean, we were talking about God of Men, Fake Pastors, which we heard previously, your latest song, and we were talking about it being a satire, but then satires are usually covert, and this one was very overtly critical of the people you consider to be bad pastors.
Yeah. So?
Well, tell us about it. I mean, tell
The
us.
poto one.
No, the fake God of Men.
Because I'm
fake
just
pastors.
tired, you know, I sometimes I don't understand the stupidity of my people. I always say that Nigerians are the most arrogantly ignorant people I've come across, okay? This whole religion thing is part of our problem, Charles, because where your pastor, especially the young people, those are the people I'm more concerned about, you know, giving them this mindset that you can get something just from praying. A miracle can happen. Or if you bring money, we'll pray for you.
It's almost magical,
you know,
isn't it? I mean, it's like magic, you know,
Yeah,
like if you do this and there are going to be all these things that happen, when in fact there's a lot of question marks over it, isn't there?
Precise, and that's why you have the situation you have at hand today. And rather than people stand up and take certain actions to make sure that their future is guaranteed, they're leaving everything to God.
Absolutely.
And in creation, God had given you every damn thing.
Absolutely.
You know, so I don't get it.
So basically, it's up to you to turn, you know, oranges into orange juice or whatever. You don't wait for God to come from heaven and sort of.
Or you
turn
don't plant oranges and want to harvest pineapples.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, let's talk about you, which is
about
which is
me?
always a very
What
interesting
about me?
topic. Would you say that recently your sort of popularity has been going in and out of fashion with the issues you have with people like, you know, people you've sort of had arguments with, your detractors and so on, who seem to think that your political views and positions have been fluctuating recently?
No, anybody who knows me well. No, I come from a very stable place, a very happy place, okay? And my parents didn't spend all the time whipping me and putting me in shape for me not to be as consistent, as tenacious, as tremendously focused. No, I'm audacious, I know that. And I speak my mind all the time. And I can never engage in anything that is not coming from my soul. It must come from my soul. I must have a good time with it, you know, to be able to do it passionately, okay? And so far, for the past 45 years, Charles, I've been from one battle to the other. I had to battle to have my own independence, yeah? I had to battle to show people that I'm really not crazy, but you know, all this is organized madness, okay? And I'm done with that because I've been there, I've done that, and you know, and that is why for me, I just face what's in front of me. I'm very focused. So it really doesn't matter how people see me, as long as I can sleep easy, you know, at night. Because my father, one of the very good things I learned from my father was, one, the art of contentment, two, to live a very simple life.
And you talked about organized madness.
Yeah.
Music, of course, is a form of organized noise because it's a combination of different noises. And in terms of the genre of music, where would you place your latest sound? I know you touched on it.
Can I dap my face?
Of course you can dap your face.
Wow,
feel totally comfortable. My apologies. We just have too many lights in here. So I apologize for that. But I mean, your latest sound comes across rather like it's got elements of high life, Afro beats, all that sort of thing.
Yes, and the new flavor, you know, what the kids, you know. Like I said, you know, I'm a bridge between old school and new school.
Well, it's a lovely piece of music. I mean, never mind the criticisms and so on, which are obviously part of it, but the sound itself is the sort of thing that I would certainly listen to. But you've been away from the music scene, though, for a wee while. Why have you decided to make a comeback now?
Now, let me confess. For almost 12 years of my life, between 12, 14, I devoted to my loving parents.
Yes.
Because as a growing kid, Charles, I showed them hell. And
they tolerated you.
They had no choice. When you consider that I stayed, rather than stay 9 months in my mother's belly, I stayed 12 months.
You refused
12 months.
You liked it in there. It was nice and warm and comfortable. And you didn't want to come out.
Yeah. You know, so I decided, I took them from the village. I brought them to my home in Abuja. I decided to, you know, slow down on everything else to take care of my parents because they really brought me up good. I didn't realize that when I was a teenager. I thought they were just being too fussy, too overbearing and all of that, you know. But I said, listen, I'm just going to devote my time till these people croak. I'm going to give them fun. I was taking my parents, all the shows they had in Abuja, they went, you know, they travel all over the world and stuff like that.
And we've got a video of you on the screen feeding your mother. I mean, that illustrates how close
Where did
you really
get
were.
That?
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
You see this, my mother.
It's very touching.
Yeah.
Very,
anytime
very
I would do a video, you know what she would say to me? Hey, have you posted that video? Bring it. What are the comments? What are they saying? And I'm like, who taught this woman? You know?
That is so beautiful. And of course, she is such a beautiful woman. I mean, as well as your father. I mean, distinguished parents. But let me ask you to stay with us. We're going to talk some more. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the entertainer and activist Charley Boy. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Anyegolu. Now, since starting out as a singer, songwriter, activist, and conscientious objector, Charley Boy, his music and his activism have always challenged the Nigerian status quo. His songs and politically charged spoken word videos rallying and railing against social injustice. His works speak out against bad governance and inequality and speak up for marginalized people in Nigeria. Here he is with one such video focusing on the recent seismic political upheaval in his home state of Imo after the Nigerian Supreme Court sacked the governor of the state, Emeka Ihedioha, and installed the fourth place winner, Hope Uzodinma, as the executive head. It's delivered in a combination of English, Pidgin, and Igbo, and needless to say, it's gone viral.
Go. Una go down here say Hope Uzodinma don land for Imo State. We shall soon know whether it's a false hope, a wayo hope, a GBT hope, or the hope that Imo indigents are desirous of. Damn it. Because verily, verily, I say unto you, Imo State, you will agree with me, has suffered so much in the hands of very bad leadership. Enough should be enough, because this injustice across the land can never be sustained. My people, they talk say, not only when jungle don't mature, we go sabi who be who. Imo State jungle don't mature. Now only for jungle, person with the fourth position go come carry first position. Newsflash. Religion and tyranny are instruments of intimidation. I glad say small, my people don't they understand. Because who no go, no. Yes, they want to make us fear. They want us to hate one another. They want us to practice aggression and perfect antagonism. Their intent is to divide us. To achieve this, they will use the weakest link. My good Imo people, don't be that weakest link. We can't bury our love and kill our hope, because we know that their hope, like NEPA, is to take all our lights and leave the people in perpetual dark ignorance. Don't let them get to you. Now look at here, Hope Uzodinma. If you come walk, boys they will go follow you walk. But if you come to continue to lead us in hopelessness, I swear with my mother, you better be ready to kill all of us. Hope Uzodinma. Hope Uzodinma. Hope Uzodinma bronguburole. Akananti kana dokwa gyo be makangbe kita na ona lushinshi. Imo State must better machoya. Last. Street now we own. And that's why we say, now we be government. There.
Dramatically, Charley Boy, and he's still with me in the studio. Very interesting.
Sometimes I look at myself, I can't believe it. I can't believe it's me doing that to you.
Well, I have to tell you, the entire gallery is just up in stitches. They're just absolutely exploding with laughter there. But I mean, that obviously a very controversial political decision in Imo State.
Yes, it is. And that takes me back to when the Supreme Court, when they had the likes of the Anyagolos and on the bench, the likes of Oputa. And I remember one of my father's judgment where he even told the people on the court that they're not Jesus Christ, that they can make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And when they do, please, the people should have the mind to say to them that, you know, you goofed here, so they can take a second look at the judgment they gave and see how they correct themselves.
So is it your sense that they made a mistake in this instance?
A grievous mistake. I don't know whether it was intentional or, you know, people who are just incompetent. But that judgment was a miscarriage of justice. And I'm not for any politicians, because I think they're one and all the same. Yeah, they come in different degrees. Yeah, I'm interested in Imo State, in the people of Imo State. Now, Imo State has voted Emeka, and from what I could see, from where I stand, it was as if things were beginning to, people were starting to feel hopeful one more time. And then, bang, you had that judgment, and you had, permit me to use the word, the clown called hope. It won't work. So I'm happy that they've gone back to Supreme Court to say, please, can you review this thing? There's some sort of a miscarriage here. Can we review it? And I'm happy that's been accepted. Whether they're going to review it or not, well, that's for the future.
Well, of course, there are always two sides to a story, and unfortunately, we haven't got the other side here. But your perspective is well taken. Let's go back to your song "God of Men."
You like that song, don't you?
I love it, but also that's obviously one of the main reasons you've come out, because you want to, in many ways, draw attention to it.
And promote it.
What's the significance of the title "God of Men"? Are you hinting that people are focusing more on the pastors than on God, hence "God of Men"?
Bingo! I don't understand it when congregation, all the people in that congregation, it looks to me like they worship the pastor more than they even read the Word of God. So, pastor says, chop grass, and they're eating grass. Pastor says, fast for 40 days, and they're fasting for 40 days, and they're dying. Pastor says, come to my church, I'll give you visa. I'm sure you saw the video that went viral too, where the pastor was pulling out people's passport from his shoes. So he walks in passport office, visa office, and then we are standing in line waiting for visa to get into America and go to Europe. And come on. And I look at all of this, I say, well, you know, the pastors have become the God for the congregation. Because if they were serving the real God, you know, they're not going to pay that pastor any mind. And like I said, I've been to many Pentecostal churches, and I know it's all a show. There's this one show they did, a musical concert. I heard the millions that was spent to do that musical concert. I mean, couldn't we have, you know, built like hospitals with it? Couldn't we have built like schools with that kind of money? You know, what is all this show for? Jesus Christ wasn't for the show, was he? And he rode on a donkey. A donkey.
Although let's face it, there weren't limousines in those days.
I know, but that is the poorest
or
means
airplanes.
Yeah.
Somebody
they had
did mention
horses.
those.
They had horses.
Right. Somebody did mention that there were chariots, and he didn't
They were,
ride
of
in
course.
chariots. Yes, that is true. But this is, of course, one single, presumably from a multi-track album.
Yes.
What are some of the themes that are percolating in that album? Can we expect the usual diet of songs that focus on sort of the worrying condition and the frustrations of ordinary Nigerians?
That is called Fire for Fire. Okay? I say enough is enough. Okay? I'm not going to stay in my own home and people keep intimidating me. Okay? I know the enemies are living in our houses now. They are not far away anywhere. They're in our houses. You go to Igbo land, you go to Yoruba land, you see strangers. They are not Nigerians, for crying out loud. And where are all these people coming from? Not when I hear that the borders are closed. Why were the borders closed? I know it's just to to punish a certain region that seemed to be doing well in their business. So they closed the borders. Okay, fine, you've closed the borders. So how are all of this kind of funny criminals trooping into our country? Then again, on the other hand, I'm hearing things like somebody saying, oh, everybody, you're welcome, come. Nigeria is your home. You don't need a visa. When you get to the airport, we'll give you a visa. Really? So you start to wonder, what the hell is going on? This is not normal. It's not normal.
I mean, there are a host of reasons that the government has given for closing the borders, some of which is to try and stop smuggling, some of which is to try and prevent what you're talking about.
No, I don't believe in a
filtering
government
from other
that
countries.
is insensitive towards the people it leads. I don't believe in a government that have promised change and what they're giving us is poverty and more hardship. I don't believe in a government that you cannot trust, that don't tell the truth. No, I don't believe in that kind of government. Something is demonically wrong. And I keep telling people we're fighting on two fronts. Apart from the incompetency that is all over the place, we're fighting something very evil. And people got to understand that. And this is not something prayers alone can solve. Everybody go and arm yourself and protect your space. I mean, people have been saying that. T.Y. Danjuma has told us that how many times? Protect your space, protect your family. And that is what that is why I like what Omoteku, that's what it's called. The Omoteku, I like it. I like what IPOP is doing. I like the Obunigwe. Everybody, every region should have their own policing and protect their damn self, because these people are out to kill, maim, plunder.
Right. Let me just move away from that clearly
because I'm getting worked up right now,
that
Charlie.
heartfelt message of yours, and ask you to stay with us because we want to talk with you some more. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the fascinating Charley Boy. Stay with us.
Accountable. Please send your thoughts, your comments to me Friday the 8th.
When jungle
Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Anyegolu. Now, he's a singer, songwriter, television personality, publisher, producer, political activist, social critic, and mass mobilizer. Whatever label you choose to put on him, there is no question that Charles Oputa, known popularly as Charley Boy, has made his mark on the Nigerian scene with his unique style. He's weathered criticism from opponents and politicians, but his luster of authenticity speaks to ordinary Nigerians. To millions, he's a sort of Robin Hood hero, speaking out for them, calling for fundamental political, social, and economic reforms, a straight-talking, edgy mixture of PR, personality, and protest, a rebellious public figure who identifies with a common cause of the masses and who oozes a sort of colourful everyman persona, an ordinary man driven to do extraordinary things. But what will Charley Boy's legacy be? And the matchless Charley Boy is with me in the studio. Thank you for staying with us. Just returning to your music, because I know that's something you want people to focus quite a lot on.
Yes.
Beyond the message that clearly appeals to the head and the conscience, does this new music of yours also connect with the heart and the hips? Is it danceable? Does it, as it were, dig a groove?
I think so. And that's why, listen, Charles, all the people that worked with me on this production, well, no one was both 25. We're all young kids. And I learned a lot from them. And that is why I say I bring my old school thing, they bring their new school thing, and we see how we put it together.
So it appeals to a very large audience.
Because
basically.
it's either I'm playing the music that, okay, listen, I want you to listen to the message. Don't dance, don't think about it, which is rare. But I want people to be able, like the Poto Poto, even like the God of Men, to be able to dance to it and at the same time listen to what I'm trying to say.
And I understand that you feature your wife on one of the tracks. You've been married to her for 41 years.
41 years. I don't know how that happened, though. Don't go there.
I was just going to say, coming off a sort of Valentine's Day weekend, when people are in the mood for that kind of talk, I mean, what's the secret? 41 years.
We didn't do Valentine. You know, on Valentine's Day, what I did? I had almost like about 13 interviews. I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning, Charles. I didn't come back to my room till 2 a.m.
No, but what I mean is that, I mean, just coming off Valentine's Day weekend, where a lot of people tend to, you know, hold hands and appreciate their loved ones and so on.
That's for
what
young
is the
people.
secret of 41 years of
The
marriage?
secret of 41 years is mutual respect, yeah? Mutual respect, being friends, and being able to communicate. We don't go to sleep with something heavy on our chest. We'll talk it out, okay? And me and my wife has resolved to die there, you know? Because I don't know what love means, but I do know what commitment is. If I commit to doing something, that's till the end. I must finish that. I'm committed to this relationship, and that's why we have our own set of problems. We go through different changes. We're going through one now, but we always talk it out.
Well, that's impressive. And let's return to your political sort of views. You once championed the rights of the commercial motorcycle taxis, known popularly in Nigeria as Okada. Now, though, they've been banned by the Lagos state government. What's your reaction to that ban?
I support the ban. That's a short twist, you know, because through 2 decades that I've championed their cause, fought for them, did everything with them, I've given away 3,000 bikes from my own personal pocket, yeah? And when I went back to Lagos, because I've moved, no more Abuja for me. Yeah, I'm going back to my Lagos. I finished taking care of my parents. They're all gone now. I'm not into street protests anymore. Yeah, like I was in the past. I want to face my music, and Abuja is not the best place for it, so I'm going back to Lagos. So when I went back to Lagos, I had to catch up with my old chairman, different local government, okay? And one of them was from a brother from the north, who used to be the chairman, the old chairman of Akomora Motorcycle Association. And he was the one who was giving me the inside gist that, listen, the Okada community that I fought so hard for, tried to bring a lot of, you know, new ideas, you know, so they can do their business, you know, because I met graduates, you know, doing Okada, and that really got to me. And that was when I started to say, okay, we can organize this sector. So he starts to tell me that, you know, listen, things have gone haywire, you know, that there are people that they don't know who are being dumped in Lagos. And that is part of the reason why I think, you know, Lagos state government called for that ban.
So you support them?
Of course. Right. But I'm also, on the other hand, you know, trying to beg, solicit, whatever, Lagos state government to please, how do we fix the transport situation? How do we create more jobs for young people? Okay, because outrightly banning them, though they were banned in certain areas, not the whole Lagos, yeah? That ban is going to cause a lot of problem and put a lot of people out of work. And once it's 5 o'clock, yeah, in the evening in Lagos, see everybody trekking.
Because
is
the Okadas are not there.
Yeah.
Right. Let's just return to that song of yours, God of Men, because I mean, there have been suggestions from some quarters that it is sort of anti-religious, anti-Christian. I mean, but you would expect that, wouldn't you? I mean, that there could be some religious backlash. You could see the pastors and the preachers pushing back against that song.
I'm ready for it. I can only speak what I know is the truth. And many of them are fake people. And they're not saving souls. They're enriching themselves. And I'm glad that Nigerians are beginning to come alive and awake to their con.
But if, I mean, do you expect that if preachers push back against this song,
then I'll start calling their names.
Well, what I'm
and
saying
all
is
the atrocities
that they've done. But then if they come out fighting, that will actually help to turn it into a massive hit, won't it?
You can never ever throw anything negative on the brand Charley Boy. Never. Because throw it will convert it and turn it into something positive.
And of course, you've had a lasting reputation as a political protester, as a maverick activist. Can we add a critical religious stance to it now? I mean, is that a new hat for Charley Boy?
I wear different hats. I don't know which is which anymore, but you know, like I told you once, you know, 4 people live in this house.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
So depending on the situation, the right person jumps out.
Okay.
And
well,
takes control.
I hope we had the right person this evening.
Yeah,
Charley
Mr.
Boy.
Oputa. You can always count on Mr. Oputa.
I want to thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Charles.
Thanks for coming.
It's always a pleasure.
That's it for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye and thank you for watching.